expressed on the following program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership.
Arizona, Brother Mike back on the radio, hardcorechristianity.com. Hey, welcome to the program. Today's Bible study, Islamophobia, Part 1. If you don't have any Islamophobia, you better start developing it. The Muslims are coming, and you got no say in it. It's too late now. They are here and more coming. Hey, will you call somebody and tell them the radio program's on? Every born-again Christian better listen to this radio program today, because this program is the nastiest Christian radio broadcast in the country. On this program, you're going to hear the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And we don't care who likes it. We never have. I do not know what the term politically correct means. I'm very ignorant in that area. Hey, when you go to the website, hardcorechristianity.com, all of our services are there. We have 3 services a week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday night. We have teaching, healing, and deliverance in every service. We've had thousands of people delivered from demons at the House of Healing and hundreds of people healed there. If you need either, the best place in Maricopa County to be is at the House of Healing. On the website, you can join us on our Facebook page. You can join us on our YouTube teaching channel. You can sign up for a free seminar. You can hit the PayPal button and send us a donation to keep the radio program going. 13 years now, I've been on the radio, and I have never been late on a radio payment thanks to you. You can catch the radio programs 24/7, 365 on soundcloud.com/hardcore-christianity. If you've been listening to the radio program for the last 5 years, you know there's another crash coming. If you want to sell your home before you lose all of its equity again, like I did in my house in 2008, the whole thing crashed, and you want to save money on commissions and fees, go to the website, hit page 1, go down to the West USA Realty button, and our sponsors will save you money on your commissions and your fees. May God richly bless you. As you know, I'm the counselor at the House of Healing. We're on 11th Street. We're just south of Indian School Road and west of the 51 freeway in Maricopa County. Islamophobia. Man, you better develop some, because we are going to now face the Quran. Let me tell you a little bit about the Quran. By the way, have you ever read the Quran? I have. I read it 2 times, and it's a very interesting book. It's not divinely inspired, but it's absolutely fascinating. I've got 2 different versions of the Quran in my library, and plus several other books on Islam for research purposes. But when I read the Quran twice, I noticed that there were over 160 verses on jihad. Jihad, as you know, means the struggle or the battle in life, and a caliphate is a call to jihad, and that's what we're facing now with the current satanic group, ISIS. But in the Quran, a lot of people don't know this, Islam is a religion of inherent violence. Muslims have been at war for 1,600 years, and they've been killing each other like rats in New York. Muslims kill more Muslims than they do any other race of people. Muslims can't stand other Muslims. They slaughter and kill them constantly. As you know, Muhammad created Islam back in the 7th century. And when he died, there was a schism in the religion, as you know, which kind of brings us forward to the 21st century, where you have the schism being, the basic schism is Shia and Sunni Muslims. And they basically hate each other. They have major doctrinal differences, very similar to Protestants and Catholics without the violence. Protestants and Catholics have very distinct and separate theologies and doctrines. And the Shia and the Sunni Muslims also have very dramatic and different doctrines. But in the Quran, which both schisms or portions of Islam use, it is inherently violent, and Islam is a dominating religion. They are competitive and dominant, and they take over and dominate everywhere they go, and they're going to start doing it here in America, and we are helping them do it. You know, the American government and our society is going to welcome Islam with a red carpet, excuse the pun. But in the Quran is made up of only one book. In other words, the Bible is made up of 66 separate books, so to speak, or separate epistles. The Quran is only one. So it's broken up into what we would call chapters. They would call it a surah. But I'm just going to use the word chapter, I guess, just, because I'm more comfortable with it. But let me give you an example of Muslims reading the Quran and understanding the inherent violence in the Quran. There are over 160 passages in the Quran that prescribe jihad or prescribe violence. Check it out. Let's go to Surah 2, chapter 2. Go down to about 178. If you got your Quran there in the car, in the next stoplight, pull it out and look this up so you can read along with me. It says, quote, retaliation is prescribed for you in the matter of the slain. There is life for you in the law of retaliation, O men of understanding, that you may guard yourselves. Now go down to about 190 at the next stoplight. Quote, fight in the way of Allah with those who fight with you. Kill them wherever you find them. Drive them out from whence they drove you out. Persecution is severer than slaughter. Do not fight with them at the sacred mosque until they fight with you. But if they do fight, then you slay them. Such is the recompense of the unbelievers. Let's try verse 193. We're in chapter 2 here. Whoever then acts aggressively against you, inflict injury on him, according to the injury he inflicted on you. Let's try 2:16 in that area. Quote, fighting is enjoined to you. Fight in it. Say, fighting, it is a grave matter. Persecution is graver than slaughter. Strive hard in the way of Allah. Check out verse 244. Fight in the way of Allah. Let's go to chapter 3 or Surah 3. Go down to about verse 121. If you're at work right now, just go ahead and take a little break and pull out your Quran. It says, quote, Allah did certainly assist you at the battle. Historically speaking, that was the battle of Badr. Yea, if you remain patient and are on your guard, and they come upon you in a headlong manner, your Lord will assist you with 5,000 havoc-making angels, for victory only comes from Allah, unquote. The irony of that is Muslims lose wars left and right. It's really unbelievable. We have never lost a war to the Muslims. America slaughters them left and right. Britain slaughters them. It's really weird. Allah is this great warrior, but he loses like 90% of all these wars. And most of the wars against other Muslims. They slaughter other Muslims like you wouldn't believe. Muslims hate Muslims. They kill them all the time. Verse 152. Let's try that one. Quote, if you are slain in the way of Allah, mercy is better than what they amass. If indeed you die or you are slain, certainly to Allah shall you be gathered together. Back still in chapter 3 here, verse 169. Try that one. Go down to that one. Reckon not that those who are killed in Allah's way are as dead. No, they are alive and provided sustenance from their Lord. And as you know, their sustenance is 72 virgins. You spend eternity having intercourse and oral sex and group sex, and that's your reward. And you live among rivers and gardens in heaven. That's what Islam teaches. Go down to verse 195, and we're still in chapter 3. Quote, who fought hard and were slain, I will most certainly make them enter gardens beneath which rivers flow. A reward from Allah, and with Allah is yet better reward. You notice that verse that says gardens beneath? They've got half that right. There's no gardens beneath, but there is. The Bible teaches that hell is in the center of the earth, and when Muslims die, that's where they go. Go down to chapter 4 now. Flip over to chapter 4. Let's try verse 38. Go down to verse 38. Therefore, let those fight in the way of Allah who sell this world's life for the hereafter. Whoever fights in the way of Allah, then be he slain or be he victorious, we shall grant him a mighty reward. Fight in the way of Allah. Those who believe fight in the way of Allah, and those who disbelieve fight in the way of Satan. Fight, therefore, against the friends of Satan. And unquote. By the way, that's what they see us as here in America, the great Satan. And boy, to be honest with you, this country's so soaked in sin, it's unbelievable. The Muslims have got that right, don't they? Man, this is a very lust-ridden, sin-ridden, satanic country. But let's skip that. That's for another Bible study. We're still in chapter 4, and it says, let's go down to about verse 46 there. Fight then in the way of Allah, rouse the believers to adore. Maybe Allah will restrain the fighting of those who disbelieve. When you go to war in Allah's way, those who strive hard in Allah's way and with their property and their persons are not equal. Allah shall grant to the strivers above the holders back a mighty reward. The punishment of those who wage war against Allah and His apostle and strive to make mischief in the land is only this, that they should be murdered or crucified, or their hands and their feet should be cut off opposite sides, or they should be imprisoned. We're still in chapter 4 here. Go down a couple more verses. It's, quote, I will assist you in jihad with 1,000 of the angels following one another. Allah only gave it as a good news, and that your hearts might be at ease thereby, and victory is only from Allah. Surely Allah is mighty and wise. Unquote. You know, Muslims lose so many wars. I've got a bad feeling about these angels Allah sends. They're more like daycare workers instead of warring angels. They don't seem to fight very well. It's weird. Let's stay in chapter 4 then. Go down a couple more verses. Make firm those who believe. I will cast terror into the hearts of those who disbelieve. Therefore, strike off their heads and strike off every single fingertip of them. Unquote. And you can see now what ISIS is doing when they behead Christians. They kneel down and then they chop their heads off on YouTube. They get it out of this chapter 4. It's as clear as a bell. You don't understand. Islam is coming to America. It's too late to stop it, and there's nothing we can do. We've got several mosques already here in America. Now, American Muslims are not as near as violent as Middle East Muslims because a lot of them don't have violent personalities, and that's true. And there's a lot of good people in Islam, and not all of them are violent. In fact, most of them are not. The problem is that if you grow up in an Islamic family and somebody in your family reads these 164 verses and they want to engage in violence, the other family members will not stop them and they will not report them. Islam is here to stay.
The views expressed on the preceding program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership. This program has been sponsored by Michael W. Smith.